What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Welcome if you are brand new. Today we're gonna go over a topic that I hit on in my last video. It just ran really long and I hit it at the end, and then you guys had a lot of questions on my Instagram and on the video itself about the topic. A lot of you are kind of going through the same thing, so I thought I would do a video specifically just for that. So today we are going to talk about periods. So gentlemen, if you're not into that, you don't want to hear it, then check out a different video if there's even guys that watch this channel. But if you are interested in this topic, stick around. We're going to have girl talk today. All right, so a quick little catch up. This video is not gonna be just periods, it's gonna be hormones in general. But if you watched my last video, I talked about the fact that basically I had gone off birth control July, and I had been on it for like 14 years. How the hell do you go? Like, I'm still in this place where I'm like, how did I take these hormones for 14 years and never think twice about it until I decided to go off it, and then I thought twice about it. So basically what happened is I went off birth control and like literally became a new person, and I started thinking I was going crazy. I was having all these like hormonal ups and downs. My skin wasn't the same. My body was bloated. I felt like shit. I was so cranky. My anxiety was like through the roof. And I mean, if you take any sort of hormone for a progressive period of time, your body is going to get used to that hormone, and if you take it away, there's going to be a change. I get that, I appreciate that, but I did not expect this, so I think that's why it came as such a shock. Anyways, I know a lot of people struggle when it comes to periods in general, people when it comes to weight loss, competitors, females losing their period and thinking that it's totally normal and riding it out for years, and then all of a sudden they start to actually feel the impact from those hormones or lack thereof hormones, and they're starting to see acne that they never had before, their sex drive is decreased, they're tired all the time, they basically have an inability to lose weight at that point, or it's very, very, very difficult to lose weight. And all of that is affected by those hormones. So if you are somebody who is experiencing this right now, if you don't have a period for a long period of time, I mean, we use the word normal when it comes to competing to lose your period because your body fat gets that low, and it's like, it's not normal, but it is. It's like those professional athletes who keep a very low body fat, gymnasts particularly, who tend to lose their period, or they don't get their period till much later in life. But as a competitor, your body fat should come back to normal, to healthy, to sustainable. So if you're not getting your period back, you need to be aware that not everything is going quite as it should, that it should be, I don't want to say the word concern because I don't want to freak people out, but like it should be something that you should take seriously and do more digging rather than just accepting the fact, oh, I just don't have a period. I mean, I've talked to so many people who just say that to me, oh, I just don't have a period anymore, it's normal. Well, period is a sign of, for the most part, normal female function. So a lack there of period. Anyways, you get where I'm going with this. So for me personally, I had never lost my period competing, which was great. Wonderful. I'd been on birth control, like I said, for a very, very long time. Everything was very consistent. The period was like very short. I didn't really feel any hormone fluctuations. I didn't train for my cycle, obviously, because I pretty much didn't have a real cycle. The hormones were very stable. That's what taking birth control does, until I went off of it. And so when I went off of birth control, I started to notice the hormone fluctuations that you wouldn't feel when you're on a hormonal birth control. Let me clarify, hormonal. I was on the pill. And for those wondering, I took tricycline low, so that's supposed to be like a lower dose of hormones. Like I said, I started feeling hormone fluctuations that were like extreme hormone fluctuations. When my period came, it was like the cramps were back to the point where they were like debilitating. My anxiety was through the roof, like uncontrollable. For the most part, I've had it under control for quite some time. I mean, with the exception of an odd day, but like this was like through the roof. Mental person, could not control myself. One time I cried because Marcus put too much oil in my pasta and I didn't track it in my macros and I didn't have room for it. Like that level of crazy. So anyways, that's what's been going on. The week prior to my period, I want to say, or after, I can't quite remember now, I would be like exceptionally tired, like to the point where I thought my thyroid was off again because no matter how much I slept, like I would sleep 10 hours a night and I still was tired. I wanted to sleep. All I wanted to do was sleep. I was very lethargic. My workouts were like shit. I was so tired during my workouts that it was basically just like get in there and try to get something done. Just anything. Just move, because there was no reaching goals at that point. So basically that's kind of what was starting to happen, and so I took that as a sign that something was off. And at that point, I started taking like my temperature, tracking my ovulation, doing basically anything that I could at home to see if things weren't really functioning the way that I felt that they weren't. Basically, I had a strong feeling that like things weren't working the way that they should. And a lot of the time, I mean, doctors tell you once you go off birth control, it can take up to a year for your body to regulate, to be normal, so and so. So I bought myself this book, and Marcus like literally laughed out loud when he came home and this was sitting on the counter. So it's called Taking Charge of Your Fertility. And it's just like it's an interesting concept. So basically it takes you through female hormone anatomy and teaches you everything you would not learn from a doctor or in health education class or anything unless you took the time to go learn on your own. So basically it's like I said, it's an interesting concept where it teaches you how to track your cycle on your own, what to look for. It kind of talks about our society as a whole and how we push birth control and oral contraceptives. And I mean, the premise of birth control makes complete sense. It's a way to prevent unwanted pregnancy. It's an easy way, especially for people who are young. I can't imagine my doctor as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. I mean, then I went on birth control for the sole reason of controlling my period. But I can't imagine a doctor saying to me like, you know what, we're going to get this book and I'm going to teach you how to track your own cycle. You're going to take your temperature. You're going to do this and this and this. Like what, adolescent at that point is going to commit that time and energy into learning about their own body. So I get that. I totally do. My concern here is that we're not necessarily given options to do that. So like if somebody was like, this is one way, this is another way, then at least get your mind thinking. Or at least, I don't know, when you hit 25, maybe give us the option. Anyways, so I'm not telling you guys to go ahead and do this and then like that's how you're going to prevent pregnancy by any means. I just found this useful in understanding my body, how it works, understanding it better. I mean, I reserve so much time and energy into learning about nutrition and fitness and every new type of research that comes out. And yet, like, I have no idea what's going on internally inside my own body. So this was super useful. So like I said, I got this book. It kind of got my mind thinking. I started tracking, seeing. Basically in the book, it talked about women who had been on birth control for a really long time. And after they go off of it, your cycle is not the standard cycle that, it's 28 days and you're ovulating day 14 and blah, 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 blah. So that's where a huge misconception came from a lot of people who were thinking that they weren't fertile is because they were trying on the wrong days. Let's put it that way. Now, this is not everybody by any means. It was just an example from one of the studies they did in the book. So basically, it teaches you to track your your temperature, and just get the book. I'm not going to go into detail and tell you guys what you have to do. But basically, I started tracking my temperature, and I wasn't having that rise in temperature that you get around ovulation. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Okay, my temperature was pretty much the same every single day, all day, throughout the month. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of strange. Didn't really, think too much about it. Carried on. This continued to be the same. So I was like, okay, this is really weird. So then I decided that before I go, to the doctor and I've gotten a lot of advice from people to do natural fertility remedy treatments. such as acupuncture. I know there's people who specialize in that infertility, so that's a route I'm going to take as well. So then I got these, which are just like standard ovulation tests from the drugstore. And then I started tracking just to see. And basically I did one of these every single day because I wanted to see. I didn't want to do it around the time that it says that you should, because basically after reading this book, it says you can, have a 23-day cycle or 60-day cycle. So I'm like, shit, okay. So really, it kind of leaves a lot of room for variance. So I started testing every single day. And it had been 60 days until I had ovulated. So I was like, okay, shit, something is definitely off. Honestly, I was happy just to see that there was an ovulation. That was like weight off my shoulders to begin with. So at least now I know we are getting back on the right path. As far as myself, the only thing that I'm doing differently, let's say, is being just even more conscious of what I'm eating. No, I'm not going to tell you there's like a distinct link between this and this. But for me personally, let's just put it this way. I'm putting like less processed shit in my body and just eating better, natural, whole foods as much as possible. That's just something that I can control. And basically my premise on this whole thing is that I'm going to control what I can and then let the hormones do their own thing. So that's basically what I've been doing. On the days that I need more sleep, I've been taking it. I've been like really sleeping. I increase the fat in my diet, which I feel just in general helps with energy levels. And I'm trying to keep my stress down. That is a huge one. It's really difficult to keep your stress down when you're just a person who functions on high stress. And like a lot of the time, honestly, if you ask me if I'm stressed, I'm going to say no, but my body's under stress. So it's really difficult to manage that when I'm fine. I'm that person that's on fire and fine. So that part makes it a little bit difficult. And I'm basically just like taking my time, feeling things out, learning more about this, which I encourage all of you to do. I encourage all of you to take charge of your own fertility, of your own period, and know what you're doing and what's going on and what you're putting into your body and what the repercussions of what you're putting into your body are. I get it. Like the whole idea of it is you don't want to get pregnant, or it makes me feel better. It gets rid of my acne. It gets rid of my period pain, and so on and so on and so on. So the thing that like frustrates me is that for the most part, that's like the doctor's answer to everything. Oh, you have acne? Take birth control. Oh, your hormones are screwed? Let's take birth control. Okay, we need to regulate your weight. We need to regulate your period and so on. Trust me, I get it. My period pains used to put me in the hospital. They were that bad. But if I knew this and I could take it back, I would still deal with that pain over like a shit ton of hormone issues from taking hormones my whole life. So, I mean, really, it's going to be so personal. You have to weigh that out yourself and see what works for you. But I know that there's so many other methods that are non-hormonal that also can work. So just something to think about. I really hope you guys think about this. I appreciate you having interest in this topic and my own experience in general. And I would love to talk about this further if anybody has actual like specific topics or questions or things they're dealing with that they want to share. I would love to hear that, especially people who have, gone down the competitive route and now they're dealing with like the backload of everything that's happened throughout that period of time. And I'm not bashing it at all. There's so many people who do this in such a healthy way, and there's so many people who do it in such an unhealthy way. So that's why I'm saying that having a well-balanced diet is key. It always goes back to that when it comes to our health. But for me, I'm trying all the natural options, if you will, at first. I have been referred to a few hormone natural therapy type of things, like I said, the acupuncture, by some friends who have had the same type of experience. If you guys have anybody you want to refer me to, leave it in the comments. I would love to talk to them. I would love to talk to you. I would love to hear from you if you've experienced this. Basically, it was one of my clients that shared her experience with me, and that's kind of what got me talking about this, that I was like, shit, that all of that is happening to me and I'm just riding along like it's normal, and it's not, and it's okay for it to be not normal and for you to talk about it. So yeah, I just want to like leave the conversation open to period talk, to hormone talk, and for us to like, be be able to share these things in our safe little YouTube internet environment. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Hopefully I answered some of your questions that you had in the last video that I had posted. And like I said, if there's anything else you want me to discuss about this topic or anything else in this sort, please let me know. Leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, if you found it helpful at all, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.